So my screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So in today's this webinar, we are going to deal with mainly 2 points here: frameworks in Python and Python in the realms of data science and AI/ML. How Python is contributing, what is the role of Python in data science and AI/ML, right? So frameworks in Python. Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of frameworks?
APIs.
APIs, okay.
Uh, Django frameworks like means web development platform.
No, I'm
So
not
it's going
asking.
to
I'm
it's
not
going to
asking.
give you a skeleton so on which you can able to develop things.
Yeah, give you a skeleton. Very nice. Anybody else?
So they actually provide you with all the tools and stuff necessary for you to build application.
Exactly. Very nice.
Application, games, and mobile softwares.
Mobile softwares. Software is a little different from frameworks. Software, you can say the final outcome, whatever you want to build, but frameworks is using from framework you are building something, right? So let's move forward on this one. So let's have some definition and then we'll move. In Python, there are several frameworks that cater to modular, need-based development, offering flexibility and scalability. Those are modular. We use those according to our need. They are flexible and we can scale those. We can add as much as features we want, right? And these frameworks streamline the development process by providing pre-built modules and components that can be easily integrated into projects based on the specific requirement. Your project can be of different problem statements, right? So according to your requirement, according to the requirement of your project, you have a framework. You can use the pre-built modules or you can write your modules according to your need by following the structure of that framework. Correct? Suppose you have to write a solution for e-commerce website. You have to build a e-commerce website, right? And no framework is given to you. How will you develop that website? You can develop, but you have to decide where should be my CSS file, where should be my HTML file, where should be my database operations queries I should write, where should I put my business logic, or all the things, or where should I put my images. You have to decide, create a structure for yourself, whether it should follow the MVC structure or some different structure. You have to decide. Correct, if you know any framework given to you, but that is going to be a time consuming exercise. If you are learning, that is the next level. You have some understanding, good understanding, and you have something to create your own framework, that is a separate thing. But companies where you go to work do not ask you to, usually do not ask to write a framework. They give you a project from a client. By using a framework, you have to write some business logics, some display you have to put there, some HTML you have to put there, and then deliver to the client. So in that case, you have to choose some framework where you have to not put your mind where should I put these files, how to write the code. The frameworks is like a guidance of your development planning. Clear? I think whoever any confusion, it's the frameworks are much clear now, right? Now we are going to talk about three frameworks of Python's here for modular development: Django, Flask, and FastAPI. So now again, what is the modular? This term modular. Can anybody tell me what is the modular? Modular development.
So with modular, we can add or remove features separately without hurting any other features.
Right. It's like a you say a loose coupling or tight coupling. So in modular, what is the coupling? Loose or tight?
It's loose.
It's loose. Loose means if there is an issue in a module or we do not need that module, I will detach that easily if that will be loose. But if that is tight coupled, it means if I will try to remove that, my whole program, whole project going to jeopard, right? So that's why modular development is always preferable. And using Django, Flask, and FastAPI, you can do that one. So let's go with the first one, is the Django. Now, before that, before you go to the Django, let's have some one unique understanding: creating virtual environment. Anybody heard about virtual environment?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, please. Why it's needed?
Yeah, it's like a, namespace. Like you have a separate environment where all your code and Python runtime environment, everything is there, and all your libraries and dependency files are there, so that it's not colliding with the global environment.
Global environment or other projects, right?
Yes. So you can have different projects with a different set of Python environments.
Python environments. Great. Anybody else? I think you are very correct. As you are learning, and it's not about a development about a single project, right? Suppose you
Same
have,
as
yeah, please.
to be same as like Git and GitHub.
Git and GitHub. Git and GitHub. Yeah, you can say that. Git is your versioning, taking versions of what was. So that is little different. Git, we are keep versions. Previous one is there. If you can roll back there, right? But you can. There is some similarity, right? Some similarity, but not exactness. Here, virtual environment means. Suppose you were working on a project 1 year back using Python, right? And that time you are using Python 3.6, correct? And in that project you required to have 5 to 6 packages you downloaded from internet and use those packages in that project. You didn't created virtual environment. Now after 1 year you have to work on another project. So this new project needs uh, 10 more packages, right? And what you did, and this new projects also did new version of Python. You upgraded your Python, downloaded those 10 new packages, and now your new project is running smoothly. Do you think the previous project will keep working?
No.
No,
No.
because you have adjusted your environment according to the new project. So to avoid this conflict or keep working different projects, you should always prefer this approach of creating virtual environment. You are creating project, create a virtual environment, install that framework, activate that virtual environment, install that framework, install the whatever the required packages. It will keep working. If it's working today, it will also work 1 year later or 2 year later, right? If it's working, so different environments will be there. Let us see how this is working. So how you can create the virtual environment. If you are using, so these are the two same things, like you have to create a first, I'm going to create a directory for you, like it's a project directory, you can say that. And I'll write python -m venv, that environment name. This is the keyword. If your laptop has not this one, then you will have to install the pip install virtual environment. And virtual environment package is already there. You can run and create your virtual environment, and environment name will be myvenv. And to activate that, we'll write this source myvenv bean activate. This is in the Mac system. But if you're writing in creating virtual environment in your Windows system, both will be same, because you are creating a new directory definitely for a project. And this you will run little different here. Python -m, here is py-3, rest are same. Here I'm activating its source, then bean activate path is here. Here environment name, then scripts, then activate. So Windows system, it will use this approach to activate the environment. Let us see how it's working in the Mac system. I'm just going to create a virtual environment. Suppose that I'm creating a folder mkdir Django projects, right? Then cd Django project, right? Now I'm going to create a virtual environment under this folder. So what should be the command? Can anybody tell me?
Python -m
-m
env
venv.
my
You can write like any Django env, right? I've given name Django env, right? So it takes some time to create the environment. Some files, folder structure created while it's running. It's created, right? So you see under this one Django, this is the created, right? Django venv, and this is the bin folder, this is the include. It's using this version of Python, and this is the libraries it's using right now, right? Now we have created the environment, but we need to activate this environment as well. How you can activate? In Mac, you'll write just dot Django, then bin, then activate. Basically, this is the Django folder, Django venv, this is the bin, and this is the activate, the shell script executed, right? In Windows, it's created a batch file. So I'll activate this one. What you see, new thing added in front of my that j@192. Can you see?
yes bracket yeah
This is making sure that my environment is activated. Either it should not come here. Clear? You are in an environment for this project. Now, suppose that I'm in environment. How will get out from the environment? I'll write here deactivate. right? Now I am in my local environment, not in that environment. So once you stop to working in an environment for a particular project, always get out from there by deactivating. So till now, I think we are clear about the virtual environment.
Yes.
Anybody, any confusion, please tell me, because now we are going to use this one for all these frameworks, Django, Flask and FastAPI.
It's clear.
Great. Now Django. So I think one person is telling Django about Django. So can you tell me what is Django? I have already given this cheat sheet. So anyhow, can you share your understanding about Django if anybody know? Your experience, anybody experience Django? No?
It's a Python framework to build apps.
Yeah, it's a framework to build apps,
Yeah, websites.
create sites, right?
Gaming application.
Gaming,
Web development.
gaming applications in Django. Yeah, you can install the packages and using those interfaces you can create those. Makes sense, yeah. Okay, great. So, first line, a high level web framework that can encourages rapid development and clean pragmatic design. So, big advantage of using this framework is the rapid development. Why it's rapid development? Because it's all built in components and packages are there, right? You do not have to write insert, update, edit or delete methods. You have to just create the table through using this one, and it will take all the operations how you can edit, delete and create. It's fast. That's why it's fast and clean, right? We'll come and see how it's fast and clean. Follows the batteries included philosophy. Here batteries included philosophy means it's a providing various built-in features like authentication, URL routing, templating and database management. That's why the word battery included has been used. Django's modularity is evident through its use of reusable apps and pluggable components, allowing developers to create modular maintainable web applications. So here pluggable components means your application is supposed that already running. One Django application has been created, a web application. After 6 months, you need to add one more component. There is not going to change anywhere big change. You will create that component, just 2-3 places you will make a change, it will start to work. Plug and unplug you can do easily and reuse apps. Interesting?
Yes.
Great. So now see some actual implementation of Django. The official website of Django is www.djangoproject.com. So let us see which is the website. One second. So you see this djangoproject.com. This is the official website of Django. Here you can download or they have very nice documentation. You can go and learn as much as you can from this documentation. There very nicely they have given the examples how to install, how to create applications, how to start server, how to do various database operations. So it is very nicely they have created the contents here. You see, lots of contents they have created for each and everything, right? So let us we go with installing Django. So how we can do that one? If you are in Linux on Mac OS, Linux or Ubuntu, you will get Django through python-m pip install Django, right? Or if you are in Windows, just this, because Windows do not write the Python, sometimes we write only py. Hope you knows, right? So let us install this one. So what is the command? So what should I do first before installing Django here? Anybody can help?
Activate the
You have
environment.
to activate the environment. Yeah.
Activate the environment, correct. So how I can activate the environment? Here, source, then Django, then bin, then activate. Activated?
Yes.
Now, what was the command to install Django?
Python-m
Python-m
if
Then?
install the Django.
install pip, sorry, there was a pip. Install the Django. You can specify the version of the Django you want to look to install. Like here I have already given
Then just check the spelling.
here, right? Or you can leave, not specify the, oh sorry, right? If you're not providing any version, it will install the default stable version, latest one, right? It's giving me the information required already because Django is already installed on my system. So, but if you are to looking to your system to install, this is the command, right? And this is for giving me update the pip one, because pip, you know about pip. Anybody can tell me what is pip command?
Python installation packages.
Great, Python installation packages. So like you use the npm, I think someone is npm familiar with, right? So this is the same thing pip is doing here. So if your system has not pip already, you have to install this pip also. So now we have Django, we are in the virtual environment. Now suppose that one second, let me go to the slide. Check the version, which version the Django what I have installed is the correct version or something else I have installed. So how you can do that one? Python -m Django version. So in my system, the Django version is 5.0.1, right? This way you can check the version. Now next thing is create project in Django. You have the Django framework, but you have still not created any project using that framework, right? Understood?
Yes.
So now we'll create a project. We have the framework, but we have to create a project where I can use all the features of that framework. So for that, I have to write Django-admin start project my side. Django-admin start project, and then
Project name.
project name. my suppose that I'm giving Django project, right? I think already this name will be used. First Django Pro. I'm just giving this one, right? So if you just list down this folder, you see this is a folder has been created. Once you write this with this name, a folder has been created. First Django project. Clear?
Yes.
So once this project created, you see one file manage.py also created, and then with the same name one folder also created within that, and it's also containing some pre-existing files created by this framework. This underscore init underscore .py, asgi.py, settings.py, urs.py, then wgsj.py. These are the default, by default Django creates these files, right? So this is how you can create a project in Django on your Python environment, right? And how you can run Python manage.py run server. So first of all, I would like to tell about something about these files. So basically manage.py is the main command line file, will work as a command line. All the command whatever we give will go to the manage.py, and that will do whatever the operations we are looking in that project, whether you are running a project or creating some applications, you will have to always use this manage.py. These files have some separate roles. Right now nothing is written here, but by default it's entry point of the project. ESGI, sometimes we have to deploy the project on the ESGI server, then it will be used. Settings is the most important files in Django, right? So here base directory is defined, some debug is true. Debug is true means our project is in the development mode. If you are in production mode, then you should make it false. Allowed host, like it's very important security feature. You want this Django framework wherever you're installing will be accessible by the server only where it's installed, right? Only those hosts are allowed to connect with this framework. So it's a good security feature. Here these are the installed apps. So by default, as I told you, batteries feature philosophy follows this Django. So by default, this admin, authentication, content types, session, messages, static files, these applications are already created. In Django, each module or each section you create, it's a application. And Django project is created using different applications. So like admin is application here. I am doing some authentication, login and doing some authentication. Authentication app has been created. So these are the inbuilt apps. That's why it, by default it's showing here. There are some middleware also created by Django, and for the security, for the session management, and different types of like CSRF. You can see here CSRF. So what if you're filling a form and there is CSRF activities going on, this middleware is taking care of that security. Authentication is already there. Messaging, doing something message related module is there, then this module, this middleware is taking care of. So this is the inbuilt middleware. You can create your own. This is the URL of the global entry point for the routing. This is the routing file URLs. And template folder is this one. basically there is a template in the backend. So backend is this one. You can put your own directory that where you want put your design files or HTMLs. You can put here. And this is the WSGI. If you're hosting your application WSGI, this is the some syntax is there for that. By default, database Django come with SQLite, right? But if you want to use SQL Server or MySQL, Oracle or Postgre, you can mention here. They have all different databases, has some database engine you put here, and then database name and username and password. Then that will be connected with that database. Your Django app will be connected with that database. Then there are password validators. These are validating your password, entering some like it's a minimum length it should be follow, common password not should be used, numeric password validation should be there. So by default it's putting some validation here. And language code, what is the default language your website is using? Here the English US is using. Time zone UTC, you can change it to Indian time zone. Similarly, this use I8BN telling that this Django can be used as a multi-language support is there. Suppose you are creating your project and this project should support the multilingual, then it should be true. Time zone, you can specify the time zone. If it's true, if your website is hosting a different time zones, then whatever the data is insert, it will also include the like 5:30 is the RPM, but in what time zone. This is the static URL, like you put the CSS, JavaScript images files in this folder. And the last one is the big autofill. Whenever create a database, create any tables in using models in Django, one is the primary key, which is by default used by Python. You have to not specify the primary key. It take care of this. And type of that primary key is big int. So hope this setting file is clear to you, right? And next is this is the routing file. Whatever any URL is requested, it will first come to this file. From this file, it decides what application you need to open, which application you are looking to open, right? So there is some high level understanding. So now let us move on. Now we wanted to run this one, Python manage.py run server. Clear it. Python manage.py run server. Can anybody tell me what will happen here?
Server will start and page will be visible.
Yes. What went wrong? Anybody can tell? What went wrong? Where I'm wrong? Please help me. Because I'm writing manage.py, right? And manage.py is under this folder. So I have to go in that inside. CD first. I can see manage.py right now. Okay. I have to be inside the end project. So if I run, it should work. Working. And by default, your this is the URL. Web server has been launched, and if you run this, yes, your Django has been launched successfully. Congratulations. Great. So this is how the complete Django from virtual environment to get the Django framework, then create a project and then run the server. Also, sometimes you see what is the default port used by the Django here. What is the default port Django is using here?
Python
8000.
8000 port.
Port, P-O-R-T.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 8,000.
By default, it's using 8000. It is possible that your computer or laptop is using that 8 port by different applications, right? So how can I avoid that? Using Control C, I am terminating this web server, clear, and I have written this one, right? Python manage.py run server. I can specify my port here, on which port I want to run this web server. Clear? Now this project will run on this URL. And if you refresh this one, this is already stopped, but if you type this one, this will work. Understood?
Yes.
Great. Now the next point. Anybody asking anything?
Sir, where do we find all these commands where we change the port numbers and other things? Like, how do we get to know that these commands are used and how can we apply?
See, I told you, documentation of Django. Basically, this is a short class we are dealing with. So we're not able to cover all the points, right?
Okay.
If
Sir.
you go here, how to get Django, this is the command.
Okay. Sir.
And after installation guide, you see created first project. You can check the version. This is the command to create or start your project, create your project, right? They have created very nice tutorial. Believe me, you should, if you are very interested to learn Django, you should go only on this tutorial. You have to use this documentation. You see, they have this folder and file structure I have already explained, right? And they have also mentioned here. They are talking about each and every one, right? You have run. I've used this command. Python manage.py run server.
Yes, sir.
Great. By default, this one. Now here also mentioned that you can put your own port, right?
Yes.
So they have, even whatever I'm telling you now, they are written more and more things here because they spent many years in creating this Django framework and writing this documentation. So they have, right now I'm giving you overview, but all the things are here. Clear? Good? We're good to move forward? Or any question? I think no question. We can move forward, right? So I've already written here in the documentation as well. If you want to run a particular port, you can put here port. And now, one good and interesting thing is that, as I already told you, that Python, if you're creating applications, any modules you're working in Python, not Python, in Django, you have to create apps. So how you can create applications in, suppose you're creating a polls app, how you can create that? So this is the command, Python manage.py start app polls. So see here, I'm just terminating for now here, clear, right? So what is the command to create a application? Can you help me to write? Fast, anybody?
Start project.
python manage.py start
Startup.
app,
Yeah.
and then app name.
Happening.
You see, always I'm putting a manage.py. This is the, you can say, commander of the Django framework. What happens? You see, one folder has been created, right? Suppose
Yes.
you want to create another app like newsletter. It's created another app, right? So according to your project, as much modules you are looking, you can create. And once a app is created, what it look like? There is view file. You put all your whatever will be visible in the web files, and those HTMLs will be in this file. If you want to write test scripts for your project, you can put test scripts here. Test cases, models, all your database level operations, or looking to create any table, you will write the model here, classes of that model, apps. So basically this is the main entry point. This is the configuration file, you can say, for this Pulse app. Admin, if you are looking to link this Pulse app with the backend of the Django, you have to register here. Your model will be registered here. So in detail you can learn in the documentation and you can get some idea. But for now I'm just going to giving some overview. So I'm just showing so how this can be done. We created this app Pulse. This structure has been generated, right? And in the view file, view.py, in this file they have written this one, this HTTP response from Django.http, import HTTP response, and there is a function index. There is always parameter request, and it will return some text, hello world, something we are writing, right? In view, I'm looking to, if I type my URL, this should be printed. So I have written this in view. Then there is a URLs. This URLs is the local router file for this application, right? Because in a particular application, it's possible that you have more than one pages. So first it's telling that if something is coming and that is blank, nothing, no, in the URL nothing is coming, I should load index only. I should call this index, right? Then in URLs, this is the main URL. You see, one is the, if I'm closing this one, now open and see. This is the file. This is the main router file which is under the project, and within application there is no any router file. You need to create a router file like urls.py, right? So within local router file you put your all router according to need of your application, and finally that local router file reference would be put into the main router file, this one. This reference is here, and then you will run the server and you can access the URL. Well, if you type like this Pulse, you will get the something. What will get the response? You will get response this one, right? So this is how You can try out at yourself after installing by copying these contents in your files, and you can run. This will work. Correct? Now, also how you can create some models, like here some models. There is a polls.models.py. This is the models file. Here you define the required tables classes. Here is one class is question, another is choice. I have a question and that question can have multiple choice. So I am creating a choice table, another is a question. So I have taken two fields, question text and publication date of that question. And I am using models. Models is a one. This is the main class, and from that I'm using this property, and I'm defining this should be the care field, max field length will be 200. This publication date will be dated time format, and just putting some comment. Another table choice. This choice is linked with which question. So I'll make a foreign key with question, right? And on delete model.cascade means if I'm deleting this one, if I'm deleting question, this choice will be also deleted, right? Then choice text, and then boards. So this is how you can create different tables. For creating tables in Django, you have to define the classes and their fields in models.py file, right? And once you have created these models, you have to register this. I've shown you this one. Post.config. We have to put this in setting.py. So we are linking that polls application with the Django framework. Django will only identify that application polls if we put here in the settings file, right? And then you can run, you can check. So if you run, once you create here, you have to make sure you have to run migrations. So there are two steps. Once you define the fields and classes here, what you have to do, you have to run this command, make migrations. And which application? Polls. So it will generate these files. It will generate these files, and where it will be generated? Under polls. Under polls and then migration, right? And once you've done, you can check that it will look like this, right? And once you have done, you have to write just python manage.py migrate. Then it will actually create those two tables in the database. And which the default database Django is using? Which is the database? Which is the DBMS it's using? SQLite, right? So you have to run this. Because I want to use the pre-installed features of Django, so this is where I am writing, and thereafter I'll go to my slide. So till now, you guys able to understand, or still any confusion, so that I can explain if anybody has some question? Because we have very less time, that's why I'm explaining through that documentation website, because if you start to type and it will take hours to hours. So we can move forward, right? Anybody can acknowledge?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, great. So that way you can create models, you can create apps, you can link with the settings, and you can see that one. Now Django also offering admin features. There is a built-in admin feature. So to use that, what you have to do, create a super user. And before that I have to run some migration, so that before creating that user, so those tables should be created in the database. So this is the command to create a super user for the admin. Like username, I want to keep it J. Email address, just leave for now. It's a week, I want to keep as it is. So super user created successfully, right? Now we'll run the server. So my server is running. I'll go and if you want to access admin, you will type here admin. You have inbuilt admin interface, login will come. J 1 2 3 4 5 6. This is the password I have given. And this is the admin given by Django. You can create your apps, and those apps will be visible here once you link those apps with the admin. So that's why rapid development is possible here, right? So I think till now we're good with the Django. Some basic understanding we have now, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now next one is we are going to talk with the Flask. It's another framework, but this framework is lightweight and flexible, and it's a micro framework. And you can also build web application using this one. Like Django has like built-in features. Already you know, we can see the admin, we can log in. We have not created login form or not created login features in Django, but you are able to log in, right? Or you can create the user there. Here, if I want to create a new user, here there is add user features they have given. I am creating one user admin, and password I am giving so you see one user admin has successfully added. I go to see that I have created admin. This is here, and they are created groups. That user can be a particular group, and even you can create a group, test group, right? And save. One test group is created. And what are the permissions you want to group this? Suppose that I am giving all this permission. User, I am editing that one, and suppose that I want to give all the permissions to this user. I want to put this user in this group. I can do this one, right? So these are the built-in features given by Django. But if you're talking about Flask, there is no built-in features. We have to write your own code by using that framework. And it's also encourages modular and to use its extension and third-party packages, right? And what is the official website of Flask? It's flask.parallelprojects.com. The website is Flask. Sorry, this is the official website of Flask. So whenever you're looking to develop a light website using any framework in Python, Flask is the best choice. Right? Now, how to get Flask? So let us see. So I'm not terminating this one. Clear. And then what I should do now? I am going to develop a project in Flask. What should I do? Anybody can help me?
Deactivate.
Yeah, deactivate. Deactivate this environment, and I'm going to create a new project, a new folder, mkdir flask projects cd flask projects, right? And within this I'm going to create what I should do now. I have to create a project in Flask,
New environment.
new environment. And how I can do this? Anybody can tell me?
Python -m
Python -m
venv
venv and then
Flask env.
Flask env. I'm just writing, right? It's creating. It's taking some time, that's why now this is environment. Okay, one thing happened, 1 second. Wait. Okay, I should not create here. Actually, it's created under that. I should create here. mkdir flask projects cd flask projects, and you see one folder is created parallel to its Django one, more visible, right? Now here we'll create environment Python -m. What is the command?
venv.
venv and then flask env.
Env.
So it's created, right? So this was the folder I had created, and within that you see environment has been created, right? And after doing that I will have to activate. So I'll write source flask env bin activate. So environment has been activated because it's showing here in a small bracket. Now what I'll do, I will install Flask, pip install Flask. So requirement already satisfied because Flask is already installed earlier, so that's why it's giving this one, right? Now how to check that Flask is already on my laptop? This is pip so Flask. So it's giving me the what is the version, name, type, author. It's already giving some. This way you can check the Flask is already installed or not. Let us write a simple use of Flask, how it's uses. So till now I hope interesting, or how it's going? Are you good?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for acknowledging. If you keep giving me feedback and acknowledge, then I'll feel that my audience are keep intact with me, right? This will give you more energy. Okay. Now, suppose that this is the Flask main folder, and now I'm going to create a file hello.py, right? And within that, I'm writing what is the first thing I have to write from Flask import Flask. From Flask import Flask, right? Once you have written this one, Flask is imported, you have to create a app handler. How you can do that one? App Flask name. App equal to Flask. This is the style of creating projects in this particular framework. So nothing to worry that you have to write something else. Then, as I told you that it's not providing any built-in features, you have to write each and everything, right? So it's not like each and everything, but there is some structure. Suppose that I am creating an endpoint and displaying something. So how you can do that one? This is the structure. At that app.route. At that app.route, and in the route, suppose that someone is just writing this one. I am writing the function. Within that, one function should be called, and that is hello world. Sorry. Right? And within this, I want to return hello world. Like you can write is like in the bold format, you can print this one, right? Right? So this is the simple code snippet I'm writing in Flask, right? And how you can run this one? Flask -app, then file name without any extension, then write run. Flask. Then what should I write?
-app.
Who is more happy today? Then file name, sorry. Hello. Then run. What is the problem? Flask -app, then hello. Where is the problem?
With the file name, I think.
Yes, because file name is not coming here, right? Some issue is that it's created under this one, environment one. So it should be under this, right? Make sense? It should not go under the environment folder. It should be outside environment, because I am directly accessing from here. We should not create any file of the project under environment. Then I should run here. So you see, this is development server, and here I'm taking this. So you see, by default it's run on the which port?
5000.
5000. Let it copy this one and put in URL. It's printed hello world, right? So this is how a simple Flask code works. You can write as many and you can follow the tutorial this Flask website, and you can see there are much way you can have some different way. Like I have written simple program. You can write here like hello, then print something. You can pass parameter in a URL and receive here, then use those, right? So lots of things can be done. Suppose that instead I was just printing some text. In here it was just a text. I want to use a HTML file. So what will be like that? Render template will be used and put the HTML file, and if you pass some variable, it will also pass to that HTML, and you can use that HTML variable here in double curly braces. So go to this documentation, look into and try one by one, you will have better understanding. So I hope you have some understanding about Flask framework as well. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, great. So keep practicing, go to this website, and you are if you're curious, I think between Django and Flask, you are interested to first try any one of the framework. I recommend go with the Flask because it's lightweight and very easily you can understand. And this HTML styling is known as the Jinja templates. So Flask uses Jinja templates too, and there is on syntax where if you pass any, like here I am passing this HTML file rendering and passing this variable name, and I have this HTML file, I am using that to display in double curly braces. So just try out, you will have some more insights. Okay, great. Now we can move on to the next topic. So also we have run the application with this one, but suppose that you want to run this Flask app, and let me show you something. Suppose that I'm just copying this and I have written here polls, right? And then I am calling function polls function polls, right? So it means if I write this in the URL polls, what it should print? What it should print? Polls, right? Because it's coming to this route polls and calling this function and printing polls as per the code, it will not go here, it will come here in the Flask, but it's not recognizing because the changes is not reflected to the web server. So what we can do, Control C, either you run again or run in debug mode. Right? If you run in the debug mode, now load this one. It's printing, correct? Now I am writing this one. This URL do not exist, but if we go to the file and change this to this one, now try, it's printing because the changes has been reflected dynamically. So if you want to see whatever the changes you want to do in the file should immediately reflect in the browser, always put that in debug mode, this one, right? So clear? Now let us move on the next topic. fast API. Can anyone tell me why we use APIs?
Through APIs, actually different softwares communicate each other and share data.
Okay, great. I think these days applications are not very like developed at one place. They are developing one thing at another place, another thing is another place, and all are communicating through their APIs, right? Even if you're writing mobile apps, you have to write the APIs. You have to provide the endpoints to the mobile app so that you can get data and send data, right? So Python also offering a very fast framework if you are looking to write API applications, and that is the fast API. It's very new, and even they are claiming that they are 200 and 300 much faster than, and you can code fast using this fast API, very high performance, and human errors can be reduced to about 40%. So this is the fast API, and it works with the Python 3.8 plus versions, right? And official website of fast API is fastapi.tiangolo. Fast API, this one, this is the official website of fast API, right? They have also the good documentation. You can see, watch how they are working. I'm just giving you simple how you can install pip install fast API. Now what I should do here, again, if I want to create a project in fast API, deactivate it, right? Then cd dot dot, then mkdir fast API projects, right? Then cd fast API projects, clear? I'm in that folder, right? Here I'll create one, what I'm going to create, a virtual environment for this fast API, right? So what will the command I should write here? Python
-env,
venv, yes, and the fast API env I'm just writing. It's created. ls, now activate it. Source dot slash, then fast API, then bean, then activate, right? Activated. Then how you can install the fast API? Pip install fast API. It's already satisfied because already installed on my system, right? So fast API is there. Now we have to also install this UVCon. So let us see how you can install. Pip install double quotes UVCon. Pip install double quotes UVCon in the bracket standard we want to install, right? Done, right? Now how you can run, I think for that you have to create a file, right? I'm going to fast creating a file under this one. As we are working with fast API, within this I'm going to create a file, and file name is main.py. This is the first file for the fast API, right? And what I have to do, from fast API import fast API, from fast API import fast API, right? Then definitely here also have to create an app equal to fast API, but different style here is here. And then you can create one here a decorator is there, we'll use this one @app dot get. Suppose that I'm getting the first URL here, then creating a function read root. If we want to just read the root of URL, you write read root and then return a JSON like string or dictionary. Hello world, right? So this is the code. How you can execute this? UV main app reload. UV main app reload. So by default it's running on FastAPI running on 8000 port. If I type this in URL, you see one JSON is returning. I've given the example of JSON because it's API mostly used in the API, and you get the data in the API mostly in the form of JSON for the fast delivery of data. So this is how you can write and use and install the FastAPI. So clear? Hope you are good now. Some understanding about these three frameworks. Any question about any of these three frameworks, or I should move forward to the next point?
So can we use FastAPI along with Flask, or is it different from Flask?
No, see, all are three different frameworks. If you are looking to write only API based solution, you can use FastAPI. You can also use the Flask for writing API, and in Django you can also you can install the package of their API and you can use the API. Not like that match these two or combine, right? FastAPI is faster, very faster than these two frameworks, Flask and Django. So if you're writing, it's recommended that you use this one if you're working on API project. But anyhow, you are already using Django or Flask, and within that project you have to create an endpoint. Definitely you can write API there also, not like combination of those two. Clear?
Okay, so it obviously depends on the project.
Yeah, depends on the
For
project.
example, most of the projects in data science or EA is basically the API, right? That's what we get out of it. So
Yeah.
in that case, we should go with the fast API instead of other two, right?
Yes, depends on the project. If you're starting a scratch, always recommend that let us go with some fast one where we have to just only write the API, then why not use this one? Correct?
Okay.
Because it's faster and very light, than even lighter than the Flask. Got?